for the real world. Let's get it. Real Talk with Carl and Charlene. Real talk for the real world. Let's get it. Real Talk with Carl and Charlene. Real talk for the real world. Let's get it.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning and welcome everybody to another fresh edition of Real Talk with Carl and Charlene. Yo, we got the doctor in the house today. I'm so excited about our guest that we got today, and we're just going to be talking about building up yourself. We got a great show. So those that are tuning in, we want you to let us know where you're tuning in from. You know how we do it. We're a global show with the global network, and we're kicking it out global live. So we want to let you know where you're tuning in from. Join the discussion. Drop in the comments any questions that you have so we can highlight it and we can talk about it. But as always, I can't do this by myself. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I got my wonderful co-host. She is feeling bright and light on the scene this morning. Oh, welcome up to the stage. What's up, Charlene?
Good
Yeah,
morning, Carl.
she
Good
is
morning,
hyped today,
everybody.
guys. This is how she does when she does not get any sleep. So
No
it's
sleep.
gonna tell. It's gonna tell all her this morning. So
Mm.
this is what it is. But we're excited about the show today. And it's amazing what we're gonna be talking about: breaking the chains of the trauma to build the life you deserve. And all of us got trauma. All of us got a lot of things that we went through, and up to this present point of where we are now. But how did you use that to build the life you deserve? Because a lot of people are getting swallowed up by their traumas. They're not being their full selves, on dealing with their traumas. But we got somebody today that's going to tell us. We got the amazing Dr. Fanike Young. I'm not going to say the other name, y'all, because I'm going to let her say it because I don't like butchering people's names, and I'm smart enough to know they can pronounce their own names. But we going to bring it to the stage. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, Carl. Good morning, Charlene. It
Oh,
is Dr. Fanike-Kiara
Fanike.
Olugbala Young. That's
Yeah,
who I
yeah,
am.
that sounds nice rolling off the tongue, right? When you can say it correctly, that sounds real
Say it one
good.
more time for the people.
Yeah, say it one more
Doc,
time for the people.
Dr. Fanike-Kiara Olugbala Young.
Oh, wow, I can almost do a dance to that. Just hear me.
Now, do you have the pronunciation of your name on your LinkedIn? Are you welcoming people and telling them how to say your name?
I don't actually. I don't. I just let them try. Now, let me tell you something that's really interesting.
Mhm.
Most of the time, anyone that is not American says my
Mhm.
name correctly.
Yeah, because we don't know no better. We got the English language, the dictionaries, and we jack up everything.
Oh
But
my
it's
gosh.
crazy because people say like Dr. Frankie, and I'm like, there's no R.
Oh,
So I think
oh,
Americans sometimes just don't read and take the
oh.
time to really try.
And
Yeah.
it's also that we don't always hear other cultures, especially because I think when you're in a different world or in a different place, overseas, they are more closely connected than we really think. So they're traveling back and forth. So
Yeah.
it's easier for them to be really truly blended and hearing and listening and experiencing other languages. So maybe that also might be tying into their exposure to language, because a lot of times we don't really have exposure
Yeah.
to
I
language
think
as much as
honestly,
we think.
sometimes it's just trying.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think yeah. I'm not gonna even go with that. I just let
Yeah.
Charlie run.
Charlie,
I let
you did too
I'm
bad. You did
giving
too
them
bad.
no.
Let me be
okay.
honest with
Y'all
you.
said no, thank you.
I
No,
trust
I
you
just
though.
let you run with that because I mean I'm a
Y'all said
dictionary
no, thank you. Okay.
I'm a dictionary dude, and
I
I
like y'all.
just
Y'all, this is great.
yeah, because it's real talk. This is what we do. We come at you, so it's
I'm
like
trying to give them an out, Lord.
yeah,
They
no,
said
I'm
no,
not
thank
giving
you.
I'm
Okay,
not
okay.
giving no outs. We don't play that. It's like when they don't pay attention to it. I love I talk all the time about reading the dictionary, how many words and how many definitions of what words are and the meanings and the dialect. And it's just like the English language is just ridiculous because one word can mean eight things. I just don't know who wrote that like that.
Right.
I never could understand that. So when you
Yeah.
think about that, and I've been overseas in the military and stuff, how they talk, and it's just like just dumb and lazy that I never wanted to learn another language. That's I'm not gonna give no excuse. I'm just dumb and lazy. Cause like all the cultures I've been around, I should be talking in language to somebody else. But
Mhm.
I try a lot of times to say people's names. I actually do, and I normally say them in my head to see how they sound before I actually say them out. But since you were on the show, if I was introducing you to somebody, whatever, I would have tried. But since you was on the show and I knew you was about to talk, I'll let you do it. See,
No
that's
worries.
how we do in America. We
Yeah,
can
Dr.
see.
Fanike for short, road rocks. It rocks totally. So
That's
Definitely,
it.
but
That's it.
it's also a sign of respect. You
Absolutely.
need to show respect because someone's parent gave them a name, or they
right.
themselves at a certain
Absolutely.
age gave
Yeah.
themselves a name. So at least, if anything, if you don't know, like how we've been doing more and more, ask,
Yeah.
ask. It doesn't
Yeah.
take too much. Ask.
Yes.
And we have to keep in mind that names have meanings. And
Yeah.
Absolutely.
so, now if we're getting into it, the power of spoken word. And so
Mhm.
a person's name has a meaning. And so when you mispronounce that person's name, you're not speaking into them what it was that was spoken into them when they were named.
Mhm.
So that's one thing to keep in mind. And then I think also there's a part of it that goes to or lends to emotional intelligence as well. And
Mhm.
so, if you take the time to really, like you just said, Charlene, ask, or, I've had people say, well, can I try? And then if I get it wrong, correct me. Sure. I'm okay with that. But
Mhm.
I think for me, it's when, like I said, someone has said Dr. Frankie, and I'm like, there's no R in my name. And so
Right.
to me, it's like you just didn't try. Like you
Yeah.
you don't you
Right.
don't care. So it's like a disregard for who I am as a person and just who I am just in general and just being another person. So like you said,
Now,
the respect, the emotional intelligence is a lot.
now
Yeah.
speaking about who you are, please let the folks know who is Dr. Fanike, and what is it that you have really found your passion in? Why do you do the things that you do for the people?
So, Charlene, I know you're in Brooklyn,
Yes.
Brooklyn,
and
Brooklyn.
Carl, you're in Jersey. So I was born in Brooklyn, in the '80s, and grew up in Brooklyn. I experienced a lot of chronic trauma in my life, and starting with first time I saw someone get killed, I was 4.
Mm.
And then at 6, witnessing domestic violence in my household between my mom and my dad. And then my dad, he also died when I was 6. So just kind of experiencing like a lot of that chronic trauma, it led to, a lot of feelings of abandonment. My mom was not the most emotionally available parent, and to some degree verbally abusive at times. And so I was filled with like a lot of, depression, anxiety, anger, rage, abandonment, just feeling alone quite often. I did some self harm when I was younger, just growing up. I didn't really have a level of happiness as a child and growing into adulthood. And so when I got to college, I started college at 17, moved out of New York, moved to
Mm.
Georgia, started school, and took Psych 101. And when I took Psych 101, we talked about trauma. And within that discussion, the instructor talked about the amygdala and how trauma stays within our body, stays within our mind, the way that it transforms us. And I started to think to myself, like, okay, I may need to look a little further into this because, my mom, old school, she wasn't like, yeah, so your dad died and, you witnessed domestic violence and you saw someone get killed at a young age. Let's go to therapy. That wasn't a thing. Let's
Mhm.
take you to talk to someone. That wasn't a thing. It was, okay, well, you look fine. You're moving about. So she must be okay. And
Right.
so, and that's what a lot of us do. And so got to college, like I said, started taking this class. And I started digging into my parents, and what that looked like, and why was my dad abusive, and why did my mom continue to let him in the house, and why, like just certain things. And then myself, like my own emotional blockages that I had growing up. And that was when I realized like trauma. Oh, and it stays. It doesn't go anywhere if you
Yeah.
don't deal with it. So even though it happened, everything happened when I was younger, it stayed. And so I just kind of started researching, really looking into it. And then when I got into my 30s, now mind you, I was making great money. I was contracting. I had earned my master's. I was doing my thing. I had purchased my first home when I was about 26,
Nice.
and realizing that when I hit my 30s, I really wasn't happy, and I had never really been happy. And I was like, wow, like I really want to explore that. So that's when I really started doing the work. And I started, meditating. I started going to therapy. I started boxing. I started eating correctly, taking care of myself, really focusing on my health. I stopped focusing so much on taking care of my family, which we'll get into, which is a trauma response, and really, focusing on me. And when I did that and I decided to be happy, it was like, okay, now you need to take everything that you've been through and
Mhm.
use it to help someone else. And so when I did that again, it was just more freeing. And I was like, there are people out there like myself that has experienced things and it's just there and it's blocking them and it's holding them back. And so that is why I do what I do. I'm a licensed therapist, I'm a transformational trauma coach, I'm a master healer, I'm a master Reiki practitioner, and I heal people holistically. And so my modality is to look at the mental, the physical, the spiritual, because I feel like we're all of that's interconnected, and you can't just heal one part of a person. You have to focus on all of the parts of the person. So I am a therapist, but I'm not a conventional therapist. Talk therapy is not my thing. So we do work and we get in there and we really work, and I teach and I show people how to heal themselves. So at the end of the day, I try to empower women entrepreneurs to heal themselves and to heal those blockages. Like they're having trouble in their finances, their relationships, their health and wellness, their personal development. You have to heal the things that are blocking you from moving forward. So that's why I do what I do. Just I've been there, I've done it, I've done the work, I know what it looks like, and I know that you deserve to live the life that you want.
Very, very true.
Man, yeah, you unwrapped a lot of that, and I just jumped to that part about trauma because the misconception is so dynamic how people understand it. And I think every living, and I'm not in the medical profession and by no means, but I've experienced trauma, lived through trauma, created some trauma, all of the above. When you look at that, everybody has went through trauma. Everybody has. And when you look at it, it's in so many different arrays of how it can happen. And when you start talking about your home life and how you like that mirrors so much. I can't tell you how many clubhouse rooms I get in and people start talking and it goes to that. It either goes to the molestation as a child or either goes to
Mhm.
the abuse that took place in the home, whether it be on the adult, whether it be the marital abuse that was going on, or whether it be the abusive father, the alcoholic. Like these are just I call them handshakes. They grab each other. That's literally circulating in all of our lives at some form of fashion, and we're dealing with these traumas. And oftentimes, us as the Black community, I'm just gonna put it out there because I'm pretty sure we all know this. As a Black community, we do not talk about these things. I know this is a recurrent theme on our show as well. We're talking about what stays at, what goes on at home stays at home, and we're still in this. And I had an abusive dad, like a lovely dude when he wasn't doing his thing, when he wasn't drunk or he wasn't getting high. Lovely guy, like the whole neighborhood loved him. But when
Mhm.
he got drunk and he got high, nobody wanted this dude around.
Right.
And I always had this issue, especially on boy growing up with a mom taking that. Like, yo, why is you still letting this dude in the
Mhm.
house?
Yep.
Like, why, and you never understand that. And my mom was a warrior. So I look at now, but I'm saying we didn't talk about it. Nobody
Right.
talked like the black eyes, you do the makeup, or like
Mhm.
we just fell into a pattern of hiding this. How can we expose this with a safetyness
Mhm.
of being able to talk about this? Because a lot of people is dealing with this and a lot of people is hurting. And
Mhm.
it is, you said something that was very fun, and I'm gonna let you answer after that. You said that they carry this,
Mhm.
and we are carrying and we are retaining this poison trauma into relationships, into marriages, into work, into children, into generations. We're passing this along. How do we just combat this and expose it?
So one of the things is I just wrote a book, and my book comes out in December, January-ish. That book is about becoming an active worker and healing your trauma. And one of the things about the book, now, mind you, I said I was going to write a book years ago. I was like, yeah, I'm going to write this book years ago. And I started, and then I would stop, start and stop, start and stop. And it's because in that book, I'm discussing my own trauma. So I'm also discussing the trauma of others that I've interviewed and gotten their permission for, but I'm discussing my own trauma. And it took me a while because I was like, I'm going to be judged. I'm going to be shamed. People are going to look at me a certain way. People are going to say, "Oh, well, you're a therapist, but you've been through this. How can you be a therapist and you've been through so much?" And that's exactly why I am a therapist. So I had to get past my own shame. I had to get past my own judgment, my own negative self-talk. And so I think that's what happens. I think a lot of people feel alone, first of all. They feel like, well, no one's going to understand. No one has been through what I've been through. You don't get it. I'm just in this by myself. And that's not the case at all. And like you said, Carl, we all have experienced something. And some things may not be as drastic as others, but
Right.
everyone has experienced a form of trauma. So, first things first is being okay and knowing, not judging yourself. That's what it is. It's not about other people judging you, it's about you not judging yourself, not feeling like you should be ashamed of your experience. Now, what happens is, unfortunately, sometimes when we share, others externally may say negative things. I One of a woman that I met with recently, she shared how she was raped in childhood, and when the other females in her neighborhood found out that she was, they were like, you were raped? And that's because she was dark skinned. And it was like, but why would they rape you? Kind of like,
Wow.
you didn't deserve to be raped, you know? And so I think it's a sickness, so there's a lot of pieces to it. There's a sickness, there's a level of comfort that comes with staying in it. So I'm used to it. It happened. This is how I feel. I mean, it happened. I'm used to it now. I'll just keep going. There's a fear of judgment by others. And I think a lot of times there is not feeling safe enough because, of course, when you've experienced something, your safety kind of is tainted. Your safety
Yes.
becomes tainted. And especially like you mentioned, if the trauma happens within the home, uh, then it's like, well, who do I tell? Because the people that are supposed to protect me are my parents. And if they're the ones that are inflicting the trauma, then how can I feel safe with someone else to share this? So there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle, depending on the person, depending on what they've gone through, depending on what it looks like for them. And unfortunately, the only way for you to start to heal is saying it. You have to get it out there. You have to express it in some way. If you put it down on paper, that's fine. If you put it in an email, that's fine. If you say it and express it to someone, that's fine. But you have to start with just getting it out there. And it's true when they say the first step to working on something is admitting that there's a problem. That
Absolutely.
is true. That is, and I think that is wholeheartedly true, because if you are in denial and you're like, I'm fine, you're not going to be receptive to getting help, and you're not going to be open to even, telling someone that you need help to welcome them into your life. And that's what I find now. So with the women that I work with, typically, like I said, they're women entrepreneurs. They're like, yeah, I want to grow my business. I want to grow my business. But then they have this trauma that is holding them back because it's spiraled, and it's caused them to have limiting beliefs. It's caused them to have the negative thoughts. They can't push forward. And so the trauma starts showing up in different parts. It starts affecting their money. It starts affecting their relationships. It starts affecting their own personal development, their health and wellness, the way that they view the world, their spirituality, their social skills, it starts showing up. And then it's like, okay, I can't hide this anymore because it is stopping me from moving forward. And that's when they're like, okay, I'm ready now. But I can't work with them until they're ready to do the work.
And how would people work with you? How can we support you? Is there something on the horizon, or is there something currently that you would like us or like the community to know about? So if they need your services, if they need your help, they can actually connect with you to do that.
Yes. So drfanike.com, it's a new site actually that I just launched because I'm moving more towards branding myself instead of branding my business.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I'm branding myself is because what I find is that I am an author. I am a coach. I am a therapist. I am a healer. I do speak. And so there's different parts to me. And so, again, that was a part of my own trauma, trying to shrink and hide myself. And so I hid behind my business. And I finally reached a point this year where I was like, okay, no more shrinking. It's time for you to be transparent. This is who you are. This is what you do. This is what you've been through, and that's okay. And so put yourself out there. So I just started, really getting into a space past my own trauma responses in that area. But they can go to drfanike.com. That's drfanike.com. And definitely, if book a consultation call with me, if you do have questions or if you are interested and you feel like I'm there, I'm ready to grow my business. I'm ready to stop dealing with the trauma that's stopping me from moving forward. I want to show up in all of the key areas of my life. And, if you're ready, then go for it. Then, yeah, book that consultation call. Let's hop on there. Let's talk. Let's see if I'm a good fit for you. Let's see if you're a good fit for me. And if we're not, I give referrals. I'll refer you to someone I think that may be a better fit for you.
Now you said
Perfect.
this what you're saying and the advice that you're giving is like it's so essential to people moving forward with the avenue of speaking that because you have to speak it and you have to know it. And I was telling someone I was talking to the other day, and even when talking to clients, even though I'm talking to clients in business and talking about being vulnerable, it just so slides right into that when I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking to them about those. And I have people that have come to me and share stories of like, yo, this is not even where this was supposed to go. I was like talking to you about something else. And when that door has been open, you find it. And that's why I like to be that receptive kind of engine that people can feel safe with talking. And I always was like that even as a kid. I always was a listener to what people were saying and what was going on with them, but I was never a repeater. And I
Mm-hmm.
think I used to have older people, even when I was younger, they used to tell me their business. And I used to be like, why do you old people tell me their business?
Mm-hmm.
But they felt comfortable, talking to me because I didn't go around the neighborhood telling everybody stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
when you have those traumas and those things that you're dealing with, how destructive can that be? Because a lot of times we don't talk about the destruction that takes place in people's lives with traumas. We talk
Mm-hmm.
about all the masking that they do, like working 80-hour weeks, or like the
Right.
soccer mom that stays gone and
Right.
and on the run. And like the pandemic has forced us to face things. And when I mean
Yeah.
face things, I mean face them, not the simple like, maybe I talk to somebody or maybe it is actually sitting in our face and we got to deal with it. Like the kid is home, mom and dad working from home, kids at home doing school. Now everybody back to eating dinner together because can't nobody go nowhere. Like, let's talk about some of this destruction that
Yep.
it does to family and how can we kind of curtail some of this, like step like incrementally, because a lot of people are not going to just be like, I got to go talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So how do we kind of build a foundation that gives us that empowerment to say, okay, maybe I do need to go talk to Dr. Fanike?
Mm-hmm. So, one thing I would say is I have a quiz on my website. It's a free quiz, and it helps you to identify if you have experienced trauma. So let's start
Okay.
there. I think some
Okay.
people are not even clear on if they have experienced trauma. Some people, maybe you had a car accident, a small car accident, and you're like, oh, I just had a car accident. But perhaps now when you're driving and you have to like turn a curb or something, you start feeling a little anxious. So that's trauma, and that trauma has started to affect you. So sometimes we kind of brush things off, but this is the thing: anxiety, that's not normal. And a lot of, like, I think we have normalized, oh, I'm just having anxiety. Yeah, but why are you having anxiety? Like, why is that a response for you? And so, like, we have to be clear there that a lot of the things that we've started to accept as normal are not normal. Okay.
Right.
So if you are experiencing, like, knowing, like, okay, one, this isn't normal. Two, being able to identify it and find it. But what happens, I think, with the masking and how it shows up at home and how it looks. So you may have the husband, the wife, the children that are like shutting down. Um, People are not communicating with one another generationally. If you were a child that was abused or witnessed abuse, you may now inflict the same behaviors within your house. I know for me, one of my responses just from experiencing and watching domestic violence between my parents was anger, and going from 0 to 2000 and like that. And I have to check myself still, because I have teenagers and they're gonna piss you off because that's what they do. And
Oh,
I have to check myself, like, don't, you can't just snap. But the anger, it's something that's there. So it's something that's a constant work for me. But
Mm-hmm.
that's how it shows up. You start to see, like, you're emulating behaviors that from childhood. You start like, it shows up, you were um beaten, as a
Mm-hmm.
child. When your child does something, that may be your first response. So it takes work to say, I don't want to repeat the behaviors that I experienced or saw from childhood, and then bring it into my home. It's about, knowing how to step away. I see a lot of couples reach a point where they don't even speak. They don't even like each other. And Carl brought up a good point. The thing that this pandemic has done was force people to be home with each other. Do y'all know that the divorce rates were so high during the pandemic? Because people had to be around each other, and they started to realize, I don't really like you. You're not
wow.
really a nice person, or we don't fit well together. I thought I liked you, but now that I have to be around you, I don't really like you. We don't get along. And that hit everyone, from us to celebrities to all types of people. So what happens is, you find yourself in a space. I know, again, for myself, my husband, who's such a great and loving person, he scared the crap out of me. Like, he scared me because he was so affectionate, he was so loving, he was so, caring and so protective of me. And I was like, this can't be real. Like, at any point, he's going to hurt my feelings, he's going to break my heart, he's going to do something, that's going to put me back into a place of not being able to trust, because that's what I was taught. Trauma responses: don't trust anyone. Don't trust, you can't trust anyone with your heart. They're going to hurt you. That's a trauma response. And so that's how it was showing up, and it took me a lot, and still took me a lot of, self talk, a lot of affirmations, a lot of work, a lot of crying, a lot of, facing my past, to get to a place where I was okay with accepting his love, and then opening myself up to love him back.
And
Man, go ahead, Charlie.
oh, because I love that you're saying this, because a lot of times, even if it's not with our spouses or someone else that's in our hearts, it's usually us. We're not opened up to love ourselves.
Correct.
And some of that trauma is someone telling you you're not good enough, or you're ugly, or whatever that may have been for you. A lot of times that also has been affecting a lot of people, because in business, you have a lot of people who say they don't want to get on camera, and we all know the power of video. And so many people are holding themselves back because they are having all of these traumatic feelings coming up every time they're on camera, and they're judging themselves because they're trying to, I guess, prejudge before anybody else does. And they're trying to take in all the assumptions or the assumptive thinkings that they think someone else is going to put on them, and that stops them. So now they're missing out on opportunities because they're not seen, they're not known. And we know visibility in business is key, especially if you're a solopreneur, especially if you know that people can do and benefit from what you have. So how do you work with your clients to really get them to that point where between life and business that they're actually addressing the trauma so they can excel?
So one is getting them to even understand that there is a blockage. I spend it's okay. Let's back up. Sometimes it's a little disheartening, and this is real talk, so we're gonna have some real talk.
Yes, have some real talk. That's
So
what we do.
sometimes it's disheartening for me because I feel like I want to help someone more than they want to help themselves.
Oh,
And
man.
so I can see someone that's offering a great service. And this, I mean, the service is really needed. And then when I start speaking to them about why they need to heal certain parts of themselves so that they can, grow in their business, grow financially, attract the love that they're wanting, start living, start making those partnerships, connecting with people, opening up, putting themselves out there. They're like, oh, well, I don't want to make that investment right now, or I'm just not ready. And I'm like, but you have so much potential. And, I mean, because I see it, I see it. I know what this looks like. I know when someone's hiding. I know when someone's shrinking. I know when someone is not, being their optimal self, when they're not living to their full capacity. I know what that looks like. And so sometimes it's heartbreaking because it's like, but you have so much. And, those gifts that God has given you, like, when are you going to show them? When are you going to start living in your purpose? When is that going to happen? And trying to convince someone to know that they deserve that. That's the thing. So a lot of us as a trauma response don't feel like we deserve it. We don't feel like we deserve to be happy. We don't feel like we deserve for our business to grow. Some of us will say, well, I tried it. It didn't work. They've probably been doing it for a month or two. I tried it. It didn't work. So I'm just going to go ahead and let it go. I've seen women who design beautiful offers, design them, but never put them out there. And I'm like, well, when are you going to put it out there? When are you going to let the world know that you have an offer?
That was me.
Yeah, that's
Why? What are you scared of? And at the end of the day, it's the fear of, well, what if no one buys it? Or what if no one's interested in what I'm selling? Well, guess what? You won't know unless you put it out there.
Yeah.
And so it's like, no, someone needs you. Like, listen to this. Everything that you know, right? Because most of us, we know we have a purpose. Most of us now, if you're saying that you are aligned with the creator, right? The creator didn't just put you here without a gift or some gifts. Okay. So when you know, or when you really believe that, right? How can you not show up and give the world the gifts that you were given when you were put here?
Right.
So when you say, well, I need to hide these gifts, I'm not going to give them to the world. Why?
hide these talents, right?
Right.
Why would you not give the world your gifts? And like I tell people, yes, I'm a therapist, but I'm a therapist because that is the gift that has been given to me. So I have to use my gift, being able to coach women and being able to help them to see the blockages and things that are stopping them from moving forward. That's my gift. That's what I do. And I do it wonderfully. If I must say so myself, because that's what I'm meant to do. And so for a woman who says, well, yeah, I just don't want to do it. And I see it all the time, Charlene, like you said, like it happens all the time. They create stuff and I mean, it's wonderful stuff. They'll take the time, they'll take the hours, they'll invest the time, energy in designing it, putting it together, but then will not share it with the world. And it's fear. And fear is built on trauma. That's what it is.
Because I can say for me, I'm sorry, Carl.
Go ahead. Go.
I just wanted to add to that. I can say for me, a lot of it was that I had someone in my life that would do a backhanded compliments while bringing me down or making me doubt myself. And it was about, oh, this is nice, this is great, you're great at what you do, but should you really be charging that much? Is it really? So I started really doubting myself to the point like I wouldn't put anything out. I wouldn't put any offers out. I wouldn't do anything because I was too busy having that reinforced in me in a way, and it was a slick way too, a way of, oh, I'm always here for you, but should you really be charging that high? And I'm like, well, damn, like how can I start a business for 2 cents and really thrive? And this person was charging thousands of dollars in their own business to the point they were getting cold cash in their hands all the time. So it's like, how can you really fight those feelings if you have people around you and you're aware, but you're not sure how to separate? And you're kind of stuck in that cipher, and it's dangerous. Like you said, it's a traumatic feeling and a traumatic event that you're in the middle of. You're in the middle of a hurricane, and you're trying to figure out how the hell I get out of here. You're in the eye of the storm.
Sometimes. It's trauma. So what happens a lot of times is that trauma is not an internal thing, right? A lot of times trauma is an external, right? It's caused by external factors. So the people around us, they usually expose us to this trauma, right?
Yes.
That's typically what happens. So it could be that they told you something. It could be that you witnessed something. It could be that something happened to them and then you're exposed to it. And so because that person didn't feel confident in themselves, or they didn't feel confident in you, they didn't want you to feel confident in yourself. So for people like that, like I just this year, y'all, I revamped my whole friend list. Like I have new friends now, because where I'm trying to go in my life, I need people around me that are constantly pushing me forward, promoting me in a positive way, telling me to go for it, try it. I need people like that around me. But when you have people around you that's not doing much themselves, how can they then help you to move forward? I took a Master Storyteller Academy course with Andy Henriquez. And one of the things that he said in there was, if you're at 50,000, right? You're at the 50,000 mark, and all your friends around you are at 50,000, right? Nothing wrong with that. But if you're trying to get to 100,000, right? You may need to be around people that are at 100,000 or 150,000 to pull you up to the 100,000, right? Because the thing about it is, everyone in the 50,000, they typically think the same. And where you're trying to grow, growth is uncomfortable. You got to shift yourself in a place where the people around you are giving you the gems. And what I started to find a lot of for myself was that I was starting to become the smartest person in the room. And I need people around me that's smarter than me to help me level up and go to where I'm trying to go. Because obviously, if I had the answers, then I would be there right now. So I need that I need that exposure to people that are in a place where I'm trying to go. And so what I would say there is, because sometimes you can't just cut people off. Some people are family, some people are friends that have become family. So I get that. But what you can do is you can limit contact. You can start to look at how much you're sharing with them. So just because you are planning something, that may not be the person that you go to with your business ideas. It may need to be somebody else that you go to, like a coach or a therapist or someone that's going to help you and serve as someone that's going to push you to move forward. So you have to be selective in what you share. Okay. I am very, 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 very selective about what I share with people. Okay. I don't tell everyone what I'm planning to do, because if you're not doing it and you have no dreams and aspirations, how can I share my dreams and aspirations with you? If I tell you next year I'm gonna make $1 million, but you can't conceptualize making $1 million, how can I share that with you and expect you to support me? Jay-Z, one of my favorite rappers, tells this story about how when he was in the kitchen rapping and he told his uncle that he wanted to rap, His uncle was like, oh, he like tore him down, y'all. Like
Mhm.
you can't do that. No one's gonna listen to your music. No one's gonna buy your records. No one, tore him down. Jay-Z is now a billionaire, which was built on the legs of
Right.
rapping. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm.
Like that's where he started. And so we have to keep in mind that some people aren't visionaries themselves. And so when
Mhm.
you're a visionary and you share your vision with someone that's not a visionary, they can't see it. They can't
True.
see it. They're going to give you their insecurities. And at that point, you have to decide now, listen, as you start healing, when you get into that mode of healing, y'all, you got to put on them buffers, boy. You got to walk around with buffers. And what I mean by that is people say stuff is bouncing right off of you. You buffering
Yeah.
everything that enters your psyche because you can't take everything in, especially
Mhm.
when you are on that healing journey. You have to know how to say, this is not I can't take in that message. This is not for me. You have to know how to say, all right, girl, I'll call you back later when they call,
Definitely,
or
definitely.
when they text you, hey, what you up to? Nothing. What you up to? Because you can't give everybody everything. So I have a select group of friends that I bounce ideas off of, that when I'm building something I send to them so that they could look it over, give me their feedback. But you can't do that with everybody. That's just the reality of the situation.
And a lot of times
Very.
we don't hide this. You covered man. You covered a myriad of stuff.
Mm.
That and if y'all don't not if you see me looking away, it's because I'm a journalist by heart.
Taking notes.
'Cause I got my notebook. I'm old school. I write everything, and then I transpose. But I always got my notebooks. But I was just thinking of you had talked about the fear and tap on that. Those that is something that's very strong, and you really brought the definition, the true origin of it, because the fear comes from the trauma of things that have happened, or even things that are speculated. I'm finding out with people I'm talking to, as we were talking earlier about how you talk to people, and conversations tend to go
Mhm.
ways in
Did he
which
say?
you had no
Oh.
idea they was going to go, especially if you're talking and dealing with someone concerning business
Mhm.
stuff. Sometimes that goes personal with people, and I get it, because sometimes when people start talking about things, it opens up the floodgates. But when you
Mhm.
take, and I'm thinking, I wrote a post maybe about a year or so ago, and I try to redo it and put it out there, and I say fear is giving you a destination that you haven't even take a step into the journey on.
Yeah.
So a lot of times fear is already giving us this closure where we're going to be,
Mhm.
and we never tried to get anywhere. So you
Right.
haven't taken a step on that. So when you talk about those fear and those things, that people are visionary killers, and dream stealers. Like, everybody is not a visionary, and I'm coming to realize that, because I always had this thing, and I mean, me and Charlene talk about this all the time. Well, I have a lot of ideas, so I know I'm visionary. Even as a kid, I would create these like Lego worlds, and like I just was this like dude just had, and my mom is, boy, you got an imagination for the, but
Mhm.
it was imaginary to me. Like, I was
Mhm.
building things, I was creating things, so it was a process
Mhm.
of me. So I get the visionary part, but how do you deal with these visionary killers? Because some people I've talked to, it's been their spouse,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
been the close one to them.
Mhm.
Like, I've had a lot of people that I've talked to, is like, yo, I would have been done this if it was just me, or I would have took that leap if it was just me. But my wife or my husband, like, they didn't dream. They parents didn't tell them about dreaming, and
Mhm.
here I am with a household divided. How do you kind of direct those traumas behind them?
Mhm.
But like, these people have dreams and aspirations, and they're living them unfulfilled because they're married to a person that is a visionary killer. That's what I
Mhm.
call them.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
So how do you deal with those kind of scenarios?
So I'm fortunate. This is actually my second marriage. My
Mhm.
first marriage, that was the situation. He
Okay.
had no aspirations. He had never started a business. He was okay with making the same amount of money until he left the earth.
Mm.
I
Said left the earth.
I
Wow. I could have went with the retirement or something. You was like,
nope.
to that
I
dude
mean,
left
so
the
he left the
earth
earth.
to
I
the
I am
end.
I am not, and I've never been.
Oh man.
And I come from a household where my mom worked 12 to 14-hour days,
Oh, talk about
eighth
it.
grade education, and I that was never my dream. I was like, I don't want to work for someone and kill myself and every day get up and go there. Never something I dreamed of ever. So I've always been like, nope, I'm going to start a business. So my first business, I did hair. I started a braid shop, and I was in college. And from there, started contracting everything. So in that first marriage, it was horrible. And obviously we're not married anymore. So yeah, because we have to be clear about something, right? A lot of times what happens is a lot of us marry young, and then you start evolving, or your partner starts evolving, and then you guys aren't evolving together. And so I see a lot of, people come in for couples therapy and they're like, oh, I'm just not happy anymore. Oh, we're just not communicating well anymore. And sometimes it can be revived, but sometimes it can't. And so the reality of the situation is, yeah, someone, at least one of you, is not going to get what they want.
Right.
And the other person okay with that. Because if the other person is not okay with that, then you may be in a situation where you just burning time. You just burning time. At least one of you are not going to get what you want. And so if you're a person and you're like, I want to start a business, my partner doesn't want me starting, or my spouse doesn't want me to start a business, you either gonna start the business and they not gonna support you, which then that creates a whole nother issue, because how can the business be successful if your partner is not supportive of you? Okay.
Yeah.
Or you're just not going to do it and then you're going to be unhappy. So you have to decide what, if any, of those two answers work for you. And of course, I can't say, straight out divorce them.
Right.
But, there are ways, like if that person is open to maybe, you guys sitting down together with a business coach. Maybe, you looking at that person and saying, babe, you got some strengths and I need your help in me building this business. I can't be successful without you. I need you. I need you're the key part of this, that I need. You have the strengths that I don't have, and I just need you to help me, and see how they respond. Sometimes if we pull our partner in and make them feel like, they're really a partner, because sometimes we're married, but we're kind of doing our own thing. And, everyone's not communicating and working towards a common goal. But maybe if you try to pull that person in and see if they're okay with working towards that common goal, see how they respond, that may be helpful. If you sit down and really explain to them. Some people, they've never had aspirations of owning a business. Some people, like it's just never been a thing on their list. And so maybe you have to break down the finances. These are their projections. You have to do a business proposal for your partner, and explain to them, this is how much money I project that we'll make. This is the investment. This is how I'll do it. This is how much time it takes. Within my household now, with my husband, who I just adore and love, I, told him, like, I want to focus on my business. And he was like, well, what do you need from me? Well, I need you to do more stuff with the kids. I need you to take the baby to school and pick them up, because round trip, that's an hour and a half each way. That's 3 hours a day that I'm spending doing that. That is
college.
My baby.
Yeah,
I know. No,
hour and a half away.
I know.
Is he a Doogie Howser?
His school is 45 minutes away, and it's a trilingual school.
Oh,
so that's why so we take the trip because it's a trilingual school, and like you said, Carl, I want him to learn multiple languages.
Yes, I tell anybody you have a baby
while he's young. Yep, and he's 2 and he speaks Spanish.
He suck it up, don't he?
Yeah, he just absorbs it, and his language development has been crazy. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, we're gonna have him on the show. He's gonna come on for part 2.
Yeah,
we're gonna interview Baby Doctor.
If he was in here, y'all, he would put his face right in front of my face and be like this, all up in the camera. He blocks me. It's so funny. It's so funny when he gets on my Zoom calls with me. But it's important that you have a partner. And I'm just being honest, this is actually the most profitable I have been in my business in my whole life, because my husband, he shoots my videos, he edits them. He looks at my website. He tell me, you need to change this. You need to update this. He critiques me. I can send him stuff. He helps me. Like that support. We spoke him up. Here he comes. So
What's up? What's up? Yeah, what's up, man?
Oh,
Come on, make an appearance on the
little
show.
Doogie.
What's up, little Doogie Howser?
Hey,
Doogie, I
there
used to have
he
hair like
is.
that. I used to have hair like that, homie. I used to have it.
you say
Sweetest
hi.
me.
Oh
Say
man.
I don't feel good today.
Oh yeah,
I
we
know.
heard your little
Poor
feverish,
thing.
man. We heard your little
Yeah.
feverish. But
But
that's
it's so important, like I said, that you have that partner
yes.
support, because if you don't, it's really hard to be successful. If your partner doesn't get the vision, they can't support it. My husband is a entrepreneur as well. And so we get to bounce stuff off each other. Yesterday he was designing his business cards. Babe, what do you think? Do you think I need to move this? Do you think I need to change? That's important. I plug him. If I know people that need his services, hey, I know somebody that do that. My husband do that. He plugs me. He refers me people. So it's for the first time in my life, which is so important because of my own trauma. I feel like I'm in a relationship where I can trust my partner, where I can open myself up, where I can be vulnerable. And it allows me to really open up and love and allow for love to enter my life. And in
Nice.
that, I then prosper in all of the areas of my life because I'm now open to receiving that love.
Yeah, that's real stuff because it is so many people and that you talk to that they have so much going on. A lot of times, the business part of it, and you said so many great things, man. We're not going to mention the part two part. That's I'll say that for Charlene. You said
We already
so many great things that causes people that are causes that people have no idea about, and when they're going through these, and I hear that a lot about. That's why I brought the question up because I just really thought it was also a question, and some of the dynamic of what you take. I kind of take that in there, not really giving counsel and advice, but I'm more a damn elder, so I give churchill advice on that essence. But when people dealing with their business and their money, there's a different direction I come with, and you can't say the same thing spiritually that you can say naturally to people because they take it with a grain of salt either way. So when you're talking to people and you bring that up, and that's a very good point, you have to have those conversations because if you don't have them, a gentleman that I was helping get some of his stuff off the ground, we always went back to that. Like his wife just like she couldn't see what he was doing, and like he said, man, I told her we was gonna be doing this. I say, did you involve her? He's like, yeah, I tried to involve her, but she was like, that's your thing, you know what I mean? And then he has a good job, so she's kind of looking at that financial stability, and now he wanna she's thinking that like now he about to play games and start a business. Because if you're not that business dude, or you don't have that business mind, and you
Right.
have a spouse or a partner that's like they looking at that 9 to 5, they know that gravy is coming every other
Yep.
week or every week, wherever you get paid. They're
Mhm.
depending on that. That's their stability. But when you
Right.
go out in this business streets, man, it's like you could have like with sales. That's why I never want to do sales. Like you could have $1 million a month, and next month you could be eating out the trash can.
Mhm.
So when you look at those areas, how you're telling them and how you're dealing with them is very essential for giving them that information
Mhm.
and doing that. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it because you guys got traumas. I didn't see a lot of questions. And good questions I did see. But I mean, we're gonna put this on hashtag replay, and definitely we want you
yes.
to drop in your thoughts. Those who's going to see this on the second plane and airing of it, like go through it, dissect it, because Dr. Fanike said a lot of great things, and she said some stuff that could get you moving. And if you can't get moving, go to her website. She got a test on there. I know we all like tests, right? She
It's
she
it's
got
fast. It's fast
she
and it's
got trauma
easy.
test. You can go see
Yeah,
if you got
it's fast
trauma.
and
'Cause
easy.
I know
Yeah,
you do. She know
yeah.
you do. Charlene know you do. We all know you got trauma. So go
Yes.
tell somebody. So go tell somebody. So that's all I got, Charlie. What you got?
Well, I just want to thank you again for coming through, coming on this show, sharing with us
Yes.
how trauma really affects us. And a lot of times people think, let's just get this hustle in, but they're stuck. And they're stuck because there's baggage that they have that they have not unpacked and put away. So, if you guys want to really dig into this, like Carl said, please visit Dr. Fanike's website. It's up on the screen right now. Connect with her on LinkedIn. This woman is phenomenal. She's in
Yes.
my network. please add her to yours.
She's now in mine. She's in my network as well. Because I'm gonna have to talk with her about some trauma that I'm causing. Because I'm causing trauma now.
Let's do it.
I have already maturated from my trauma that I went through.
Yeah.
So now I'm causing trauma to
Yeah.
people. Like I ain't gonna point to nobody, but you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
it must be
did it
me.
for years. Yeah, I did it for years. And you know, another thing that I would love for us to talk about, Charlene, you said hustling.
Mm-hmm.
How are you
Yeah.
hustling? Because
Oh, let me write that
that's
down.
from trauma. That's a trauma response as well. That whole I got to be busy. You know that I'm on
Oh
the grind.
man.
I'm working
Yeah.
hard, but you don't.
No sleep. No sleep. Sleep is for
Yeah,
chump.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. All these people be claiming they
hey,
doing so much, right?
I
right.
have to
But
be a
no,
chump today.
it doesn't have to look like that. So yeah,
Charlene is going to
thank
get
you
on your.
guys so much.
Yeah, she's going to get on your calendar so we can see how she can get some sleep at night and get
Man.
off of this. Get off of this hustle and get off of this whatever. But like I always say, the pandemic did the reset, and it's how you take advantage of it. And it is necessary. I didn't think it was necessary. You probably didn't think it was necessary. God thought it was necessary to reset. I don't care what you want to say about where they came from, what Chinese market you thought COVID came from. You think about it on the higher power level. You know, we know who caused it, right? So I think it was just a reset button for all of us to just take an inventory, look upon where we're doing, where we're going, how we prioritizing. Let's get this trauma out there. Let's deal with it. Let's get empowered. It
Yes,
feels so good when stuff is not a weight any longer.
yes,
Mhm.
I mean, it really does. You just feel like a new creature. Like really,
yes,
when you don't have that weighted down trauma and you can move past things. Oh man,
yeah,
how phenomenal is that, right? So this is
yes.
what we're gonna do.
Exactly.
So Charlene,
Exactly.
when is part two? Because I know it's coming. When's part
Well,
two?
part 2 is going to be in 2022. We are
Yeah.
officially booked up for 2021.
Yeah,
We have a
watch it,
couple.
Oprah. We coming.
We have a
Y'all
couple. Of, we have a
coming. I
couple of.
love it.
We have a couple of folks in the pipeline, and of course, the
Yes.
holiday season is coming. So, what we are
Yes.
taking 2 weeks break
Yes.
so we
Yes.
can enjoy our
Nice.
family.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We've actually done our thing in like 3 months or so. The show
Yeah,
has
because we just
really
started in
taken
August, but
I love it.
August, yeah, we
I
just
yes.
started
absolutely love
June,
it.
yeah, August, end of July, early August. So we just started there. We're booked out to then. We're gonna take a 2 week because that's also gonna be my break from school as well. Because law school is no joke, y'all. So December
Hang in
18th.
there though. We
Because
need you.
I look, I got traumas. I got work. And if they knew I was on the show now, hey, work, how y'all doing? Work. I got work, I got school, I got business, and I got this work with Charlene, and
Yeah,
I'm feeling fulfilled like never before.
I
After
love it.
30 years in corporate of the hustle and bustle and grind, it feels good to get pop that coffee in my Keurig, sit here and do a show and help
Right.
impact other people's lives. It's
Yes.
it's it's
Yes.
nothing better than that. It's
I
nothing
love
better
it.
than that. Yeah.
I
So
love it.
we
And
thank you for
speaking of
coming.
impacting people's lives, I just
Yeah.
wanted to let folks
Oh
know
yeah.
if
What you
you
got?
need, yes, I actually have a offer. It's a one-time offer for folks, 90 minutes with me. We will get your content together because a lot of people have a website with bad content or no
Oh.
content.
I know
So,
I had it, guys. I had it. Just because you're a writer don't
so
mean your content is great.
Right. Right.
So to
Yes.
level up your website, your content has to be on point and optimized. So 90 minutes with me, hit me up, DM me so I can let you know how to get that started because that is going to be a game changer, especially if you want to get ready for 2022.
Yes.
And I have something special coming out then too. So look out.
Yes.
Look
Yes.
out, look
And
out.
then if I can just do my last
Yes, go
Yes.
ahead, girl. It's
yes.
about you, girl. Go ahead.
So definitely look forward to December, January. My book is coming out. It's called
Yes,
"What the F is Your Problem?" Becoming an
yes.
active worker and healing your trauma. So that will be out in winter of 2021 or early January. And right now, actually, I'm offering a 45-day laser coaching program with a
Ooh,
3-hour VIP day with myself for us to dig into, that blockage. Let's identify it. Let's figure out where it's coming from, what it is, and then develop those strategies to get you out of it. But it's 45 days of having a therapist in your back pocket that you can call.
hmm,
I know. I'm like, I need
45
one.
days. Come
I
on.
need one.
Hey,
I need one myself.
man,
This
I'll
is a
tell you,
no-brainer.
I need that's
I'm
a
hearing a
definitely.
no-brainer going on right now.
Yeah,
I'm hearing
Yes.
I need me, and so that I do. So that's having
oh,
45 days. of having a therapist in your back pocket where you can call. We can process through things. We can strategize if you're struggling, if you're feeling that anxiety, if you are feeling that depression, if you're just feeling like I need someone to talk to. I just had an argument with my spouse or my partner. I need somebody to process this through. You would be able to call me and we would jump on that call and process through it. So that's what I'm offering right now. Go to drfanike.com, book a consultation call. Let's hop on there. Let's see if it's a good fit for you. And looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm excited for the women entrepreneurs that I will work with, the ones that I am working with. And, I just want to close out with some statistics if I can.
Absolutely.
According to Fundera, 40% of U.S. businesses are women-owned, and 64% of new women-owned businesses were started by women of color last year. And so 64%, right?
Doing your thing. You're doing your thing, ladies.
Yes,
Doing your
yes.
thing.
But if you can start them, but if you don't deal with the things that are stopping you from growing them, then they will not be successful. So let's start there. Let's jump on a call. Let's get a call on the books. And let's go through it. Let's see if I can help you. Let's see where you are. And I want you to be successful, and I want you to want to be successful.
Absolutely.
And I thank you, because I think this is such a timely offer. The holidays are coming, and folks know they like to hang their in-laws out the windows and all kinds of stuff want to happen. Yep. Do not have the mental breakdown. Get with Dr. Fanike so she can really connect you with understanding what's happening, helping you deal with it so you can make it through the holidays. Start your new year off right, because let's stop doing these resolutions that fail by
these lies. I just call them lies because people ain't keeping them no way.
These New Year lies. Let's not do these New Year lies in 2022. So connect with her. Make sure that you also get with her if you know you need it, because a lot of y'all know you need these 45 days. Hook up with her. Let her hook you up with someone who can let her be your sounding board. Let her allow you to walk through the drama and the trauma so you can get better and level up in 2022. Thank you, everybody.
You got to do better. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Rob, James, all of you guys who come out, those who are going to see it on the replay, we truly appreciate you all. It's coming to the show, throwing in your comments, participating, joining the discussion. It's what it's all about. Real Talk with Carl and Charlene. We appreciate you. Y'all go check out. I know I advocate for everybody who come on the show. Of course, that's what I'm going to do. But I mean, this is an area of which we have neglected ourselves for such a long period of time. And it's not color related. It's not color related. Let me just throw that out there before we end the show. It's not color related, but it's trauma related, and it has no boundaries, and it's holding you back from being who you need to be. So with that being said, we thank everybody for coming out. Thank y'all. We'll see y'all on Tuesday. We've had another fabulous week. We got another fabulous guest on Tuesday. You got to come back to check out who it is. All right, y'all. Peace.
Real Talk with Carl and Charlene. Real talk for the real world. Let's get it. Real Talk with Carl and Charlene. Real talk for the real world. Let's get it.